Hi, guys. First, I'd like to say thank you for taking the time to get to understand more about the music business as an independent artist. And without going into too many formalities, we're just going to jump right in with the getting started point of this. The first point I want to bring out to you is to understand what, not who you are. So, what you want to do is kind of define what you are by what you're doing. Don't get confused with the details or anything like that. Keep it simple. So if you write, you're a writer. If you sing, you're a singer, rapper, producer, and so forth. What I found is that it's important to select one or two categories at the very most to define yourself that way. So I know a lot of times you might be a singer, songwriter who plays the instruments and you produce yourself while acting as your own recording engineer and manager, as is the case for most independent artists. The fundamental problem with this is that in the music business, when you have too many titles, it becomes a problem of sellability. So, what you want to do is think about yourself as a product. Think about yourself and you want to package yourself in a box. I know as artists, a lot of times we don't want to dumb ourselves down and say, I only do this. And you kind of want to communicate all of the things that you are able to do. So, what I'm suggesting to you is to consider yourself as a product. And as a product, you want to put yourself in a box. Now, if you think about this on general basis, if you're going to buy a piece of jewelry, you go and look at the piece of jewelry, but then when you go to purchase that piece of jewelry, it comes in a box. When you give that piece of jewelry as a gift, the person that is receiving it only sees the box first, and then they open the box to find out what is inside of it. As like when you buy something like a computer or a printer or a keyboard or a microphone, all of these things, when you purchase them, the initial form that it is sold in is in a box. Then you open the box to find out what the product is inside. Another example of this is don't judge a book by its cover. I'm sure a lot of you have heard that statement before. Well, for the independent artist, that is especially true. So let's use this example. Let's say you have a vehicle and that vehicle breaks down. Let's also say that you don't have the money to finance the repair, but you do have the time, you do have the motivation, and you do have the initiative to repair it yourself. The first thing that you would do is you would seek information or a resource or a book or someone that you know for a solution. Now, let's say that book is called How to Fix Cars on Your Own. You would open the book in order to see what information is inside to make sure that it fit your problem. Now, if you recognize this, you will see that the resource or the book or the person that you might even go to, you know that because of the packaging, that it may contain the information that you need in order to repair your vehicle. Now, let's look at the other side of the coin. Let's suppose that you found a resource or a book that is entitled How to Fix Your Engine, Your Brakes, Radiator Leaks, Radio, and Interior Panels. Clearly, that book title is a bit off putting. Why? Because it's giving you details about the content. And in doing such, it gives you too much information about what is contained in the book. So you have to think about yourself in that same sense. If you're at a networking event or if someone is asking you what you do, if you give them too many details about what you do, it's going to sound like you're all over the place and that you're not really focused. So make sure that you find that elevator pitch that can describe what it is that you do in a sentence or two at the very most. So when you pick these sentences, what you want to do is aim to label yourself in a way that intrigues them enough to want to open the book. So, with that said, let's move into our industry, the music business, just a little bit closer. So, let's take a second and understand what our business is. First, we need to understand that there is a slight difference between music business and music art. What is the difference? The difference is usually found at the end of the process. In arts, there usually isn't an expressed interest in financial gains. So that means you're usually doing the art form just for the sake of doing art. In the business, even if it's just slight, there is an expressed interest in some form of financial gain. Now, with that said, I will assume that you are here listening and watching this because you have some interest in the financial gains aspect of your music. So let's not assume at any point that your talent alone will assure your success in the music business. Keep in mind that if it were all about the art form, that the industry would be called music arts instead of music business. In both cases, education is important, whether it's formal or if it's self education. When you are an artist, be it a singer, songwriter, musician, producer, poet, it is important to get on the path and stay on the path of educating yourself. You will want to begin with the specific area that you are creating. For example, if you are a songwriter, you will want to know some basic music theories such as measures or bars, tempos, melodies, things of that sort. You should be in a position where you can articulate the music in such terms for clarity's sake. If you achieve this point, you will ultimately save money and time, and you will also make an impression by being knowledgeable about your study. Because there's no such thing as an artist who knows it all, the important thing is to remain in a learning state of mind. So, one of the important things to remember when you're in that learning state of mind is to understand communication. Everything in the music business is connected. So, if you are a singer, for example, as we just used, if you can communicate the music, it becomes a little easier for the producer or the engineer or the musicians to understand. The next step to gaining a solid foundation and understanding the music business is simply language. Now, before you start to feel overwhelmed, stop for a second and breathe. You're not required to know how to perform the job of everyone involved in this process, but to just simply know the terms and what they mean. Being able to communicate clearly will be a means to cut wasted time and money. So you will want to understand the recording engineer's terminology as you would your attorney or your accountant or your producer or your music director. Again, understanding terminology of the other working parts of this industry will save you time, it will save you money and frustration. It will also allow those other parties to understand that you have a working knowledge of what they're doing. So, if you think about the music industry as one big machine that has different gears, different knobs, and different moving parts, you'll understand that the machine will work better if all of the parts are moving. So, we just reviewed some of the fundamentals that create a foundation for us to build on. Think of your independent music career as a corporate building. What we did was lay the foundation and a few pillars and beams. There are still other topics that we need to address in order to build more. So, as an independent artist, you should learn the details of copyrights, contracts, publishing, performing rights organizations, bookings, and a few other things that I have listed for you. So, in closing, let me offer you this. All too often, independent artists find themselves in positions where the fine print is enforced later, or information that should have been known or been aware of comes later. Perhaps your decision would have been different if things were communicated up front and directly. Well, because I personally know what that feels like in the music business, I don't want you to have to experience it with the information that I'm offering you. So here is my fine print. Yes, everything that I'm sharing with you is available online or in books or in other resources. And yes, you can do the research yourself. The information is out there if you want to dig into it and find it yourself. So, did I really just organize all of this information to give it to you for free? Yes, I did. So, if this information helped you, and I hope there was something that I shared that inspired you, please understand that I do have more products for you. The majority of those products are and will be for sale. Some of the information that I will be giving you periodically will be for free. I would love to have the opportunity to share more information with you. I also hope that you can appreciate my forwardness because I wanted to communicate clearly exactly what my intentions are right at the beginning. I believe that as independent artists, we get too much information too late all the time. And I think that why do that with something that will help you? So, with that said, until next time, thank you for subscribing. And I really hope that this information was of some use to you. See you next presentation.